Hey, what's going on, everybody? Ryan Knuppel here, Knup Sports Show, episode 233. Hope you're all doing amazing. We are Thursday night football at time of recording. We got football going on tonight. We got the Bills and Dolphins tonight. I'm super excited for that game being here in Orlando, Florida. Everybody loves to follow any Florida football, except maybe for the Gators right now. Whoo, they've been struggling to start the season, but that's okay. That's okay. All right, yeah, I'm excited for today. We're bringing you another amazing person doing amazing stuff in sports. So we're going to dive into that in a second. But first, I got a little bit of housekeeping for you to touch on. We are just a couple weeks away from SBC Summit Lisbon. We are media partners of that event. So, man, this one's supposed to be an amazing event. They're calling it like the Super Show of iGaming or the iGaming something or another Super Show. So make sure to check that out. I personally am not going to make it to Lisbon. I am very bummed about that. But I will not be there in person. But if you do go, make sure to grab your ticket using promo code NewPartnerVIP. That will get you an amazing discount. And if you do go, man, just enjoy it. It's going to be an amazing show. So, okay, that's about it for housekeeping. Let's dive into the show. Today I have another amazing guest. I have Luke Davis of RockSource. Luke, how are you?
Hey, good morning, Ryan. Doing well. How about yourself?
I'm doing amazing down here in sunny, hot Florida. Where are you living today?
I'm in Atlanta, Georgia. I'm in rainy Atlanta, Georgia right now. You know, it's dealing with a storm, so kind of getting the out effects of that.
Nice. Well, I appreciate you giving me a little time here, and I'm sure the audience is excited to get to know you a little bit and understand what you're up to. But let's dive right in. So, Luke, before we dive into RockSource and kind of what you're doing with RockSource, why don't you give me a little bit of background about you and kind of what makes you tick and what got you into the sports industry as a whole and all of the above?
Nah, man, sure thing. So I live in Atlanta now, but born and raised in Monroe, Louisiana, West Monroe to be exact. Home of Duck Dynasty. That's how you can pretty much pinpoint it on the map. Up there, born and raised, got a chance to earn a scholarship at the University of Alabama in 2007. Played for Nick Saban, was actually in Nick Saban's first recruiting class, literally his first class. I think he got the job at Alabama like on a Sunday. He was in my living room that Tuesday evening, if I'm not mistaken. So happened pretty quickly, had to make some quick decisions to grow up. Played there, earned my degree there in human environmental sciences. Had a short opportunity to go up to Buffalo with the Bills, and from there got into the sports management business completely accidental. I just never thought about it, never aspired for it or anything like that. I had a former teammate, Marcel Darius, who in my opinion gave me my first opportunity of what this looks like, and just kept helping him with a few things along the way from a marketing standpoint. And even from there, two other teammates, Terrence Cody of the Baltimore Ravens and Brandon Dederick of the New England Patriots. And from there, I had a business and didn't realize I had a business. So yesterday made 12 years since I've been in business with RockSource. And, I've seen a lot of the highs and lows, but I'm grateful to be a part of this journey to help out young men and their families.
That's very cool. Well, we're going to dive into RockSource here in a second, but I can't skip forward without asking you, how was it playing for Nick Saban? Just that personally, how was it playing for Nick Saban?
Man, I had a little bit of practice. So my hometown school, when West Monroe, Louisiana high school, West Monroe High School, we put out phenomenal guys such as Andrew Whitworth, who, was a Walter Payton Man of the Year some years back. Brady James, guys like that as well. Even Cam Robinson today with the Jacksonville Jaguars and Xavier Woods. So we had a very tough and stern coach and a little guy by the name of Don Childs. He was about 5'6", but man, he had the heart of a 7 feet tall man, and he was face. So playing for Coach Saban, I had a little bit of practice to know what it would be like to have a coach and focus on what they're saying rather than how they're saying it. And what I can say for sure with Coach Saban, he never promised me anything. And I think that was a good lesson to learn in life early, in that of, whatever you achieve, you have to earn. Yeah. And, even in a dire situation, you have to figure out a way to face adversity and pull yourself out of it. And I'm just always forever grateful, because I went through a tough time of having committed to LSU at the Army All-American game. And then once Coach Saban came to Alabama, having to decommit and go to Alabama and just believe in a plan and process that could not see at first, and what it flourished and turned into, and what it is today. I'd be lying if I said it would turn into that, but I knew that he had the power and effects, and if he got the right pieces in place, that he could build up something great. And I wanted to be a part of that. I didn't want to be another number. I wanted to be significance. I wanted to be one of the bricklayers, and one of the individuals to lay the foundation. So he instilled education in me as much as hard work. Football, believe it or not, was kind of secondary because he wanted us to be great young men and great men to turn into family men. And I just forever appreciative of that.
Man, I love to hear that. That's super cool because when you look at it from the outside, you're right. You're thinking, oh, Alabama, all they focus on is football. But man, the good coaches, the great coaches, are focusing on what really matters in life. And I'm sure you brought a lot of those principles and things you've learned from great leaders like Nick Saban now into business, into what you're doing for the rest of your life. So that's just super cool to hear. I always love hearing that, especially on like iconic coaches like him. It's just really good to hear, really refreshing.
Oh yeah, definitely is, man. He used to say quotes all the time in meetings where as being a 19 to 22 year old, I'm like, man, how's this relevant? Like, what is this gonna apply to in life? And it applies to life. It literally,
You're right. Yeah.
one even that I use today often is how you do anything is how you do everything. And just that approach to something as simple as taking out the trash on trash day, or putting a cart back in the parking lot of a grocery store. Your approach to that is going to definitely dictate how you go through life. And if you quit today, you're going to quit tomorrow. There's not going to be, hey, I'm just done here. You're going to find a way to be done with everything going forward.
Oh, that's super cool, Luke, to hear, all that great things. But let's dive into business a little bit, and let's talk a little bit about RockSource. I think for people listening and watching this show, they're interested in what RockSource is, right? So why don't you give us that 1,000-foot view of what RockSource is, what you guys are doing, and what you're set out to do?
No, sure. Yeah. So RockSource Management is just that sports management and representation company. And our goal when I started RockSource 12 years ago, I didn't quite know what I wanted to build it out to be, other than something unique and different from what the other traditional agencies were doing. And when I realized as big of stars, if you will, that I had the chance to work with, who were former teammates, when they had challenges with day-to-day life, and how to pretty much pick up, leaving an establishment like Alabama, where we pretty much were very fortunate to have everything waiting for us hand and foot. You go into the NFL realm, and I get it, where you're being told, okay, you're being paid millions of dollars, so you're an adult, figure it out. But if you're not given those tools to figure it out prior to that, it's kind of putting you at a disadvantage from a lot of other people. And I think that's why sometimes you'll see guys who were first round picks, they get called bust, or that rookie slump, or that sophomore slump, because they have so much going on in the outside world to where they're not able to really focus on what is now their job. And then there's so much man hours dedicated to building out a great organization, where personal life gets kind of pulled to the wayside. So my job was always to be a buffer and a liaison to kind of step into where, okay, if I didn't play at the highest level or as long, I played at the level, from a collegiate standpoint. I know what is playing at institutions like USC, Alabama, Ohio State. That's the closest to playing professional because of the structure that's there. So being able to implement those tools, those styles, that organizational structure into business, and try to make the transition as smooth as possible, because it can be a scare tactic. It can be a bit of fear out there. Imagine being 23 years old, you're so excited to get drafted, you get that phone call, you're either at the draft, which at the time when I got into business, it was at Radio City Hall in New York, or you're on the living room couch in Louisiana and you get a call from the Seattle Seahawks, or you get a call from the Buffalo Bills or the Miami Dolphins, three places you've never been before in your life, and you have to figure out, okay, wow, what's there? What's next? Even giving a quick story about myself, when I got an opportunity to go to Buffalo, I remember flying in, looking out of the window, looking for the big tall buildings, looking for Central Park. I had no idea. I had no clue that Buffalo was essentially on the other side of New York. you know. And I just remember that moment. And it was myself, Marcel, and Kelvin Shepard, who was a linebacker coach now with the Detroit Lions. You know, we were with our liaison going around the city, getting shown around. I remember asking, because I didn't want to sound dumb.
Yeah.
I didn't want to sound dumb. I remember asking, "Hey, how far is New York City from here?" And she's like, "Oh, it's really not far. You know, a lot of players go there on their off day. You know, it's an hour. It's an hour flight." I said, "An hour flight?" She's like, "Yeah, you know, you take an hour flight, get back in time, you know, before meetings the next day, but it's about a 6 hour drive." And it was that moment to where pay a little more attention to what's going on. But again, I'm able to take my experiences as a player and put it into business for helping clients and their families understand. You know, we don't control where you go. The cool part about college, you get to choose, you get to pick. But professionally, you know, we can't even if we have the best relationships with the general manager, the head coach, the position coach, you know, across the board, you know, that's something that's out of our hands. And we do our best to try to make sure it's as smooth and comfortable the transition as possible. We're there every step of the way, whether it be training camps, you know, sending care packages, just letting them know we're thinking about them. We try to personalize it to the point to where, you know, it's something that they like, not something that we just want to get them. And I think that even goes a long way too, because it's so hectic. We're learning a new playbook, and you know, trying to adjust to the team to make the roster to where it's just good to kind of feel like things are a little bit close to home until you've officially made that new place your home.
Yeah. Yeah. Very cool. Very cool. Sounds like an amazing business, and really opened my eyes. So you've been around 12 years. You said you started the business 12 years ago. That's pretty cool. I'm sure you've seen a lot of changes in this space over the 12 years. Maybe touch on a couple of the biggest changes that you've seen just in this space in general, that maybe have shifted the way just this whole space works. Maybe touch on one or two changes that you've seen.
No, sure. So the first change, I'll even go back to just traditionally where the NFL draft was held, and then being in New York City, and now how it just goes all over the place. It's kind of getting an opportunity to experience new cities, and it's become more fan favorite rather than I just remember it being almost, you know, business structured a little bit of a secret society type deal in a way. So it's so now, and even with technology, we're given the luxury of knowing, you know, it's network. This network trying to beat this network, so we know who's selected, and at least the idea of where they're going before it happens. That's been one big change. Even with the seriousness of how concussion protocol has, been taken into effect, with being able to see the game evolve and change to what it was.
Mm.
You know, I work with Marcus Jones of the New England Patriots, and how the kickoff structure has changed now. You know, where guys are lining up versus to where when I was having an opportunity to come out myself as a player, you know, Devin Hester, you know, was the key. It was the thrill of being able to see him take a kickback from the back of the end zone all the way to the other end zone. You know, or even Ted Ginn, you know, guys like that. So that's been one big change, and probably the most amplified change of it all has been NIL in college.
Mm.
And I remember how big of a deal it was when I was being recruited coming out of high school. Then a year behind me, you had guys like Julio Jones, Mark Ingram, Mark Barron, and I can't imagine the magnitude of pressure and stress that these guys would have had to go through, including myself. So what these young men are having to go through today with picking a school based off of, probably not. For me, it was okay. Who's going to give me the best opportunity to get a degree, and if sports don't work out, to get a job?
Yeah.
Now, you know, in a way, it's like, okay, who has the biggest opportunity to help me maximize my dollars and my earning power right now from a financial standpoint. So being able to weather those waters a bit and stay true to my beliefs and my core values and morals from a business standpoint, and that of we're still going to help you become a great young man and understand the value of what's important when you're done. Because even if you were to make, I'll throw out a number, $5 million, which does sound like a really big number. When you think about it over the course of being an 18-year-old to a 23-year-old, it can go quickly if you don't manage it well. And if you have, a lot of other influences or responsibilities to take on, that's something that's not going to even help you stretch to being age 30. And when you think, back when I played, if you were fortunate to play to age 30, you had a good start at life, because most doctors, lawyers, and other engineers out there, their life isn't beginning to start until age 30. So those were things even in undergrad I took serious in trying to figure out, okay, how can I use the tools I learned in sports, but set myself apart to be prepared and ready, for when careers over, when sports careers over with, so I could be amongst those elite. And those are the two factors I would say have been the biggest changes, just NIL and just from an NFL standpoint, how guys are transitioning for life after football.
Yeah, very good answers. Yeah, NIL certainly has changed the game in the college space. Do you wish it was there when you were back a player? Do you wish that was a thing? If
I
it
couldn't
was a thing, I mean, obviously, oh yeah, I would have made money. But do you look at it as a good thing? I guess is kind of more the question. Do you wish that's been a thing all along, or how do you actually look at NIL as a whole?
I'm gonna be completely honest with where I'm at today versus who I knew I was then.
Hmm.
I couldn't handle it. Man, I could barely handle being from a small town, being a 5-star recruit, and so many schools calling me and just showing up unannounced to my parents' house. I could barely handle that. So now you put money into the equation where, I come from humble beginnings and didn't really know. So now that's an added equation. And I don't know if my decision would have been the same. I really have to say that because I looked at it at the time of, the road less traveled, being different, not doing something that everyone else was doing. Even my decision to go to LSU was because it was the easiest decision. They recruited heavily at my high school. Everyone went there. I knew that they were going to win the 2007 championship before I got there, just because of how things were set up. And I wouldn't say a conspiracy theorist, but I used to look at the college football rankings. I'm like, okay, so this bowl game is in this site. This bowl game is in this. These teams are probably going to play because from a financial inducement standpoint, it makes sense. It literally makes sense. And I remember my brother picked me up from after my freshman year. And I hope this is a quick story. He picked me up after my freshman year, and we had just went 7-6 at Alabama. We lost to Louisiana Monroe, which is my hometown. And
Mm.
he's essentially laughing at me. He's like laughing at me at the fact that LSU had just won a national championship. And I say to him, I said, well, you know what? Next year, we're going to go to the SEC championship. We'll probably lose to Florida because they're just that good right now. I guarantee you by my third year, we'll win a national championship. The only thing I got wrong, I kid you not, Ryan, was that I said we were going to play Michigan. I never thought we'd play Texas. So in terms of being able just to handle that pressure of just, could I have done so? Man, it would have been tough because, I went to Alabama because I believed in Nick Saban. The only thing I knew about the school prior to that was that Forrest Gump went there. And then I got there and found out that he didn't go there at all. So I just remember just remember the wives' tales of beating Tennessee, and they're talking about get the cigar, smoke them. I'm like, for what? I don't smoke. Like what is this? Or the stories of the bear, it served no relevancy to me because I'm from Louisiana. The biggest rival game I knew of was the boot, Arkansas versus LSU.
Yeah.
When the light turned on for me was we're playing Auburn my freshman year, and they converted a 4th and 1 to keep their drive going to win the game, and they held up the number 6. They held up, and that's when it turned on. I'm like, oh, this is what it feels like to be a part of a rival. And I hated Auburn ever since. I hate Auburn today. I never cared before. I never cared before, but I hated Auburn ever since. And I think we beat them that following year like 38-0. But man, it would have been massive, massive pressure, even to be a part of it alone, been in it, knowing how highly recruited that I was.
Yeah, I can't imagine the pressure these kids have to go through. They got to grow up quick, right? Grow up even quicker going through this whole NIL stuff and just understanding how to navigate that and just being a part of their world from a young age is crazy. And just wanted to let you know, I'm not trolling you with the shirt. This was not intended. It was not on purpose. I looked down. I'm like, oh, we're a Florida shirt. That's probably not a little rivalry.
Nah, it's
not a rivalry, but
I take good fun in it. I'm friends with the Pounceys. Those guys. Like we came out the same year. I'm black, so man, I was happy to play against those guys when I did, and to even see how their career, how their lives will turn out after their careers as well. So, I was never shy about things, man. I just feel like I had a broader perspective of so many things. And at that time, I tell people today, I'm like, man, that 2008 Florida team was probably the best team I've seen with my own eyes, up close and personal.
Yep, yep, very cool. So let's get back to RockSource real quick. So what's the future look like for you guys? Where are you headed? What are you looking to do here over the next year to 5 years?
Man, so our goal now is just primarily grooming young prospects, or young future clients and prospective clients to throughout their careers. Now going into the college space, we're big on education and being able to help the prospective clients and their families understand, one, how to essentially maximize their talent, but also to the value of the dollar that they're earning.
Mm.
And the thing I would have changed too, just kind of going back to NIL in my time, is how quickly that things can change from a coaching standpoint, or even just the transfer portal and jumping into that. I think a commitment should be a commitment, and unless there's a dire situation or a dire need from there. So RockSource is basically just trying to help young men honor their commitments, because we talk to NFL scouts and teams as well, and they notice that, they pay attention to that, and they want someone to be in a position where they it looks unstable. I had a client that we represented 3 years ago, and one of the questions that came up in their interview was, "Why do you transfer so much?" And this was before like the portal was as big of a deal as it is today. And one situation was where the kid had got in trouble at one school. The next, he transferred to the school. It wasn't what he expected, which is a flag to, okay, not being able to rise to the occasion. And then he finally got to a school, things worked out, had a chance to go into the draft, wasn't drafted. But just paying attention to that. And if you think about it, and what we try to instill as well with RockSource, your resume, what are you putting on your resume? How long were you at this job? What was your role? What was your title? Did you get promoted, like up, or did you become a starter, if you will,
Right.
from in the first ring? And just really trying to combine athletics with everyday life skills and tools. And our goal is to completely grow the company from NIL standpoint, and also from a professional standpoint, with taking deep value into our concierge services and what we do with hotels, birthdays, anniversaries. We're like, we don't forget a thing. Sometimes we save a lot of marriages because because husbands and boyfriends, they forget that their anniversary is a certain day, and it's our job to remember. So we get a chance to do so with that, and it's fun, and I think it's the way that it's supposed to be. And for as long as I remember it, in the last 12 years, I've always enjoyed doing it that way.
Mm-hmm. Man, you're just dropping some gems out here today. All this stuff I tell my kids all the time. Like, hey, when things get tough, my oldest plays college basketball, my youngest wants to play baseball, and I'm like, things get hard at your team. You don't just leave. Don't just pack up and leave the second it gets hard. Like, fight through that. It may not always be easy. So all of those principles mean something. Now, that means there are reasons to leave at some point. It's not saying you shouldn't ever leave, but it's not just the minute something gets hard. So I can talk about that all day as well. But I love what you said there about pro scouts and pro teams. Look at some of that and try to understand why these kids leave. Is it because things are hard or not? So I love what you said there.
Hey Ryan, I'd be happy to come back, man, on another day, and we can expand on that, because I have a lot to tell with it, from personal experience,
Yeah.
player in the business, and just the overall holistic view of it. But you're absolutely right. Unless there is a reason, and there can be reasons, but it does show, okay, everyone wants to go back to the why.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. Let's plan a longer session, and we'll have it more topical and all the above there. But well, Luke, I know you're a busy man with RockSource. What did we miss? What did you want to talk about here that we missed? What do you want to tell the audience here before we kind of let you off the hook?
Yeah, man. So I mean, even with just having been in a business, 12 years, having experienced the up and downs, if you will, RockSource is in a place now of rebuilding and branding, and I'm excited about it. I'm excited about it because I have had an opportunity to collaborate with other agencies and part of their building process, and I think it goes back to, what could I do for myself and my team to help put us in that position. And that's what we're excited about, man. It's going to be a great, 2024, 2025, and so on. So I appreciate you taking the time to have us on, for sure.
Absolutely. If anybody listening wanted to get a hold of you or RockSource, what's the easiest way to do that?
Oh man, probably email. So my email is ldavis at RockSource Sports. So that's the best way to get to me. Man, I try to be quickly and best responsive as possible when it comes to that. Sometimes a little too responsive because I enjoy talking, but that's the best way to get to us. And we're in the process now of building our social media platform. So we'll be releasing that in the next week.
I'll be keeping an eye out. I really appreciate your time here, Luke, and I look forward to having another follow-up session where we dive deep into a subject. That would be fun. So I appreciate the time here today.
No, awesome. Thanks a lot, Ryan. Keep doing your thing, and looking forward to speaking to you again.
All right. Thank you, my friend. Talk to you soon.
Talk to you soon. Bye-bye.
All right, that was Luke Davis of RockSource, episode 233. What an amazing episode, man! I could talk all day about some of the things he was talking about and his experiences. We all could certainly learn a lot from some of the experiences Luke's had in athletics, and that's what I love about athletics and sports in general. Is it's more than just the sport. We all love to play, we all love to be a part of a team and all of that, but man, you learn a lot more as you go through it. My college basketball days, the same way. I learned a lot that I'm using now, and you don't even think about it when you're playing. So. Young people, listen up. Old people, listen up. Everybody, listen up. We got some amazing people coming on here talking about some amazing things. I urge you to check out RockSource. Contact Luke if you have any questions or want to be a part of what they're doing in any way, shape, or form. I'm excited to see what they do in the future. All right, that's episode 233. Until next time, I'm Ryan Knuppel. We'll talk to y'all soon. Take care. Stay safe. Have a good one. Bye-bye.